All right, everybody, it's Art Clow here, and welcome to part two, talking about MTV Celebrity Deathmatch, Donald Trump, Beyonce, JFK, Assassinations, the occult, all of that. I had to cut the last video because it cut me off, and so let's pick back up here about the point, talking about MTV's Celebrity Deathmatch coming back in the year 2016 here. This image being the one that I found that was telling me about that. So notice here, MTV's Celebrity Deathmatch, you do see reference to 2016 Obama Holocaust president, as well as the date January 23rd. And then we get the numbers 144,000, which can be an anagram for 1044 as well. So for 144,000, let's take a quick look at that. That'd be 1440. Do notice that that is the same as 411 Elm Street, and it could happen to you. Okay, so again, thinking back to the Truman Show and that poster with the plane being struck by lightning, all the stuff that I've talked about with that, immensely important, but do see that it gives us the Illuminati project, as well as 777, immensely important God number, and Edward Alexander Crowley, Golden Dawn, Hermetic Order, all of these immensely influential components. You also see here Brotherhood of Darkness. Okay, so now jumping back here, if we switch that up to 1044, you'll see that this ties back to what we were talking about in part one now. And so again, you see that as the English value for the wait is over, as well as Dorothy Parker and Walk With Me Lord. So again, that being a trinity of all of these Badu pieces here, because you do have this show with her and Ricky Smiley, and he is known for this skit in which someone is shot in the right eye, and he sings Walk With Me Lord at the end of it there. And Dorothy Parker is the Song of Princes that Erykah Badu covered at the Webbies. So again, do see there New World Order, Age of Aquarius, Secret Societies, so on and so forth. Okay, so now let's get back down to this over here. Let me see, I'm a little bit lost in the coding. There we go. So what I want to do is break this down for you. Since we have this date, January 23rd here, and one of my stated things was to talk about Trump's Fifth Avenue comment and being able to assassinate somebody there, and it's all good, it wouldn't lose any votes. So let's take a look at this. January 23rd date, alright? If we break 2 and 3 down, it's 5. January, the first month, a nice 15 devil card. We can reduce that down to 6. Notice that the year is 9, and so think back to the beginning of this video, is now the last video, but 69 is the same as Beyonce, Lemonade, and when we invert it, it is the same as Erykah Badu, Love Gun, and Fifth Avenue, alright? So immensely important how you see that all connecting in right there. And so let's just keep going here with all of that, though, because that's just the tip of the iceberg. So 6 and 9 is 15, another devil card. So if we want to take this, the month and the date, 1, 2, 3, and we mirror it, add them together, you get a nice 4, 4, 4 with all of that. Now, how sweet is that? Since with the wait is over that we were looking at with that 1044 coding, you do see up top there triple number sequence 4, 4, 4. Now, wow, right? I mean, that is a definite wow moment in all of this. So now let's keep going, though, because we have a lot of ground to cover here. If I can stop getting lost going back here. So now here we are back to all of this information. The 444, again, 64 is very important because you will remember that it is the same simple value as Amon, as Clow, as the land. Alright, it comes up again and again. It is very important to keep that number in mind. And also when we look at the written out version that has come up, you see it in the formula of INRI, as well as in Bring Me Home Live. Okay, all of the stuff we've talked about with that in the past. So now let's do a little bit of a recap here on some of these important dates here. So Trump said this on January 23rd. That's what I'm comparing these shows to. So the Erykah Badu and Ricky Smiley show on June 11th is 141 days after that, alright? And so very important that number 141, because it is the same value as on the ground. Remember, those were Charles Dickens' last words. Let me just type it in for you here so we don't have to go through the melee. But so again, with all of that in there, you do have reference to the Dark Messiah, 21, Age of Aquarius, Will of Thelema, as well as Underground, Hairbringer of Death, and Dark Molester. All right, so very important. Also remember in that article from the first video that was showing the connection, the 11th cousin connection between Obama and Bush on the ground is the working title that they had in there. Of course, the 11th cousins, all of that. Do notice here from that date again, January 23rd to the conclusion of Beyonce's World Formation Tour on the 2nd of October. It's 254 days or 8 months and 10 days. And so I'm going to look at that 810 in just a moment here again because it will come up just down below here. But so do notice, and I talked about this in the past, from the 11th of June to the 2nd of October is 114 days, 3 months, 22 days, immensely important. And so since we're looking at all of these tunnels, at all of these dates here, let's reiterate what was in the first video. The Gothard Base Tunnel opened on June 1st. Remember, Beyonce's playing a show in Switzerland there on the 14th of July. It's a difference of 44 days or 11 weeks and 4 days. Again, that just 44 again and again and again. So now, with all of that, take a look at this here. So she's going to be playing at Letzie Grund, and so this has the same English in simple values as civil rights, all right? And so very important because remember all of the Kiss Save Santa, Family Guy stuff was talking about a civil rights leader being killed. And again, you see reference in here to satanic message as well as the will of God, image of the beast, and this quadruple one over here, which we can definitely tie directly to Badu's window seat cover here, the quadruple one and the P being the 16th letter, just like 2016. Okay, 16 reduces down to 7. Everything that I've talked about with the importance of that number. All right, so now keep looking here because you'll also notice that that Jewish value of 816 is the same as killing me softly. All right, so you do see there reference to Illuminatus Barak and many shall be left behind. So now a lot to be said with that. But so since we've been talking so much about Ricky Smiley, do notice for his birthday, it is the 10th of August, 1968 that he was born. And so we can look at this as 810 if we're excluding the year for a second. Now remember, that is the number of months and days from when Trump said he could shoot somebody on 5th Avenue to the conclusion of the Beyonce tour. And so I'm going to talk more about that date in just a second here. But so let's pop in 810. And do see it is the same as the I Slay remix, as well as Ralph Wiggum, who I am still going to talk about in that Simpsons opening intro in the right eye with the ice cream cone, and how that mirrors the assassination we very well may see coming up here. So notice here, terrorism, Thelemic order, Bohemian Grove, and God of Baphomet. All right, all of this stuff just again and again and again. So now let's pop back up here. So that we can keep rolling through all of this. And so with the 816, just so you can see all of that again. So now I want you to see, since we're talking about this Switzerland stuff, I like to look at tweets because I think that there are a lot of clues in them, and I've seen a lot of stuff bringing Twitter up as an important piece to look at. So now if we go back here and look at the bit that I have pulled up for Switzerland, remember this is from BBC, the opening day of that underground tunnel. You see this posted at 11:44, so obviously that number grabbed my attention. And I want you to see the Jewish value is for live ritual as well as large frenzy, and you also see V-shape forehead mark, the Typhoonian coat, murderous thugs, and Wonderland. All right, and so Illuminati Watcher did a great bit where he was talking about this having a lot to do with Alice in Wonderland, and something I believe about the original story, all of it just having to go underground as where Alice went for all of this dissociation from her psyche and controlling the monarch stuff, all of that being embedded in there. So very, very fascinating to think about. And do remember that the V sign, the peace sign, that is absolutely for Typhoon, the one of the most feared ancient gods. And so all of this energy that you see being put into him from everybody from Winston Churchill is absolutely one of his favorite signs to throw up. Even on the Economist cover from last year, he's throwing it up. You also see Barack Obama, Ray Charles, I mean, really, the list is on and on. This is a symbol that a tremendous amount of energy is constantly fed into. You see Jay-Z, Frankenstein, the whole list. And of course, here's our guy Trump doing it too. And so all of that connected in. I've talked about it. And so take a look here. I guess we'll jump a little more into the Gothard base tunnel stuff. I want you to see the route length is 35.5 miles. And so that number 355, very interesting to me, is the same value that we get for Lincoln Financial Field. Again, take a look here. She's going to be playing that show September. This is Beyonce, September 29th of this year. You see the 999 total reduction there. Lincoln Financial Field, the initials give us the 366, which is the same as formation, as well as the number of days in a leap year. Also, again, that 1104 down below. All of this that we've seen time and again here. But so now let's keep moving since there's still a lot of ground to cover. And so, as I was stating in the last video, Trump says he could shoot somebody and not lose any votes. So shoot somebody is a total of 13 letters, and so again, that's the death card. We can reduce it as 4. We have these 2 S's in the front, reduce them down to 1, so we have again this 11-4 or 411 reduces down to 44, the kill number. All right, and so again, I could shoot somebody. The whole quote there, you see 33rd degree Mason, as well as September 1st is the Alpha and the Omega. Now, September 1st this year is the 245th day, which I've talked a lot about in conjunction with that Family Guy Christmas episode. All right, so now take a look here. 1434, this is the same Jewish value as I love you, and this is something I've just noticed, and it really does bother the hell out of me, because he's always saying I love you, and to me it's just unacceptable. Is pandering. You see here the 44th President Barack Obama, as well as wolf in sheep's clothing. The 7-pointed star, again, Seal of Babylon, Mark of the Beast, Conqueror of Nations, as well as the Disclosure of Aliens, USA History Repeats, and Mind Control Technique. Also important because 66 comes up, 66 chapters. It's important because there are 66 chapters in Isaiah and 66 books in the Bible. And so again, 66 being that immensely important skull and bones number, as well as tied into a million other things that I talked about. Again, watch part 1 if you didn't see it. I did not intend for these videos even to be disconnected like that. And so in any case, as he says in the quote, he could go out to 5th Avenue and do this. So when we look at 5th Avenue, take a look here. You do have reference to terrorist ransom demands, as well as sacrifice doves. This is something that I've talked about a lot in connection with Prince, When Doves Cry. Even the Tower Tarot card has the dove on it. You do see causes a lot of suffering, as well as reference to Satanic Ritual Day and the Violet Flame. All right, down below, English and simple values. Again, this 96 popping up, which we've been talking about everywhere here, but you see the same as Love Gun and Erykah Badu. You see coming up Freemason, 16, MK Ultra, the 11. All of this again and again. God is females. Gets back to the dogma stuff from my original channel. Now, take a look at this 5th Avenue written out here. You have reference to idols of the devil. Love is sacrifice, as well as the divine bloodline. Take a look down here. The English and simple values, the same as soft ice cream. Now this is a lyric from that Lana Del Rey song Salvatore, and remember it came up in relation earlier to the number 441 when we were talking about that in the reduction of when Celebrity Deathmatch when this Donald Trump versus Don King fight episode aired, and so all of the connections that we got with that there. So now let me jump back here and not get lost. All right, so down to 5th Avenue here. So you also will see, though, that it is the same as Cascadia Rising. And so Cascadia Rising, remember, this is the big FEMA thing that just started today. And so notice that it's the same Jewish value as bullet. And so since I don't have that written in there, you can see here then that the Jewish value is 347. And so having that same coding, very, very important. But so do notice again that you see reference to the killers as well as dictator and the end of America. All right, so now getting back to this information here, Cascadia Rising, take a look at this. You have reference to We Come in Peace as well as Alien Contact. And again, remember back to my old channel, I did a ton of stuff talking about the movie Mars Attacks. And so in one of the scenes, I don't have it pulled up, but when they first get there and say they come in peace, the humans release a dove, which the aliens mistake as a sign of war. And so that's really what starts the whole feud there. Do notice in the movie we have the 555 foot tall obelisk, the Washington Monument, these weird kids dressed in clear Civil War garb, all the stuff in part 1 I was talking about with the Second War of Independence, New Declaration, all of that stuff. And so very, very interesting to see come up. Now, Rena Flores, I don't have pulled in here because the article that I had pulled up for that, it just closed on me for whatever reason. But do notice that her coding is the same as soft ice cream. You get Scorpion. It's the Death card. You also have Cursed, as well as Secret Ion, Bed of Roses, Church of Baal, and 3 9s, all right, just like that 999 that I'm continuously talking about, all right. So notice the English and simple values down below are the same as Fear of the Dark. Again, I've talked about this a lot in the past. You do see reference to Great Work, as well as Leonid Elenin, Comet Impact, CERN Collider, Ancient Rite, and Hunger Games. And so Sebastian Murdoch, who is the one that I have the article pulled up for in this right now. If I can just jump back somewhere in here. There he is. Alright, so you can see this here. This is the one from the Huffington Post. Again, the other one was from CBS, and all the importance that is attached with that institution. But so take a look at Sebastian Murdoch here writing on Don Trump's quote to shoot somebody. You see Order of Illuminati, as well as Deep Impact Extinction Level Event is Comet Elenin. The 13 and the 1, again, another reference to that 131. So do you see that Antichrist Democrat comes up? I do want to pull up 131 for you. It does come up in the reductions for Antichrist, and we have seen it pop up in quite a few other places, including the Boondocks. So do notice 131, same coding for John F. Kennedy as well as serial killer, all right? And you also see it is the same value for Charles Dickens, okay? Again, immensely connected with all of this. So now keep moving here. You do see down below the English and simple values, the number 27, immensely important, and there's our beloved 888 again, written out for you there. So now let's keep moving here. For Celebrity Deathmatch, I want you to see, yeah, this is it pulled up over here. Release, the distributor is MTV Networks, so that's where I'm pulling this up here. I just want you to see it says, once I kill the Antichrist, I'm coming for Apollyon and then Satan. And so I'm going to look into that here. You also see a reference to terrorist attack in Paris in the end of Muslim immigration, so maybe another very high-scale attack coming up in Paris here very soon. But so notice the English and simple values here are the same as CBS News Bulletin, as well as Erykah Badu and Prince. And so again, these numbers referenced in It Could Happen to You coding. Notice down here the Holy, 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 as well as Eyes of the World 444. This could be a reference to Holy 3 times. Also remember I showed you the date that Trump said he could shoot somebody, does reduce down to 444 if we mirror. Now, take a look at this here, because since it says I'm killing Apollyon and coming back for Satan, notice here when we look at that coding, we get Barack Hussein Obama II, all right? Killing for the sake of killing, as well as suicide bomber killed Obama. So that's an interesting twist there, but now do notice the English and simple values are the same as Paris, France, East 83, and the theater. Remember, that is where Ricky Smiley and Badu will be playing on the 11th of June. And so with this, you do see the new Aeon, Great Dragon, Grim Reaper, I Love France, Martial Law, Accidental Death, and 911. So now, take a look at this here. For Abaddon, it has the same Jewish value, has a Jewish value of 102. And again, just remember that's one of the numbers that we've been focusing on today. And so also notice the English and simple values there, the same as 246. So with that, you do see it comes up as the simple value for there are love and love. This is Crowley differentiating between the dove and the serpent, all right? And so take a look here for that 246, how it comes up. You do see reference to the dark night of the soul, again 888 in the phrase words equal numbers. And so I do want you to see again when he's dividing them here, you see 74 times 9, that is 666, and you also see people die from MK Ultra mind control and ritual abuse, as well as American government is one big joke. So down below then you see the 33rd degree of Freemasonry and another government false flag operation. Do remember we did see all of that in the beginning back here, and so again very interesting how those come up at different pieces there. And so I want to keep going though. So let's take a look back here where we have all of this pulled up for you, the 246s. And so I think there's one other bit I want to show you since we're back here. You see this phrase, nor let the fools mistake love. And again, if you look through this whole thing, it's how the actual phrase reads out. I have it in 3 different parts there. But so with that, when we're looking into it up here, you do have for there are love and love and the number 281. And so I want to pop that number in really quick for you here so you can see it is the same simple value as window seat re-examination. Again, the video in which Badu is reincarnated after being assassinated in Dealey Plaza, and her and Rick Ross go on a killing spree. Look at this. You see the number of the Antichrist, Ancient Order of Bavarian Seers, bloodlines of the Illuminati, so on and so forth. Okay, all of these things. You also see it's the same as Irvine Meadows Amphitheater, which is where Kiedis was hospitalized. We're supposed to be playing on May 14th, a date that I had picked out for somebody to get murked out. And so very interestingly that he didn't want to play that day. So now notice all of this here I have written out for you. And do notice 246, if we invert it, it's a reference to HR 642, the magic bill. And remembering when we add 642 with its mirror 246, it is 888, all right? So now, with all of that, we can finally get into the stuff about the matchup here between Erykah Badu, between Missy Elliott and Beyonce Knowles. And so I know her name has 2 T's on it, but not on here it doesn't. So I'm not going to look at it with 2 T's. Because that would just not be conducive to this research. All right, so this episode is called The Mysterious Tea. You can see here it is from season 4, episode 11. So again, that 411, 4 times 11, that 44. Remember, High Tech Fighting, the Trump episode we looked at, was aired on, God damn it, what was it? November 4th, and so that 44 reduction from that as well. And so notice here this original air date is April 4th, and so again you just see these 44s and 444s all over the place when we break them down. And so I want you to see for Missy Elliott on her own here you have reference to all of these crazy numbers. And so 909 is very important to keep in mind because we've seen it come up. It is Sunset Sound. Remember, that is what Prince's Purple Rain album came out on. You see reference to the Beast and Antichrist, as well as the numbers 159, which link us back to the More Than a Dreamer information from the Beyonce Formation video. And so again, it is also the same simple value as AF 141. Again, in the Gregorian calendar, that's 2049. Subtracting 2016, our current year is 33. And remember, AF 141 is from Brave New World, when the 9 Years' War began. All right, so all of that immensely fascinating. You do see a ton of Simpsons connections in there as well, as always. And so let's jump back here, take a look for this. And so another way we can write this out is as 990. And so since that one came up in all of this research, do see it's the same as prank phone calls. Remember, with Ricky Smiley, what he's known for. You also see Anessa Wells, CNN, Erica Abbey Wright, the formula for Tetragrammaton. All of it comes back to play. And so let's keep moving here. You do see Elite Terrorist as well as the True Clipoth and the Serpent Sun. So down below, her English and simple values, the same as Samuel Hinckley. Remember, that is who Bush and Obama are cousins through, as well as Austin Zamora, Solvit Coagula, and all the stuff I talked about with that. So now again, Missy Elliott, Beyonce, you see the word abrahadabra. Again, that is the word signifying the completion of the great work. You also see antagonizing terrorism, Satan release, October, and the phrase drown Bill Gates. Now, it is interesting because in Formation, she does talk about being Black Bill Gates in the making, and obviously in the video, she drowns at the end, which I've talked extensively about. And so keep all of that in mind. It's just very interesting. You also see, yes, Barack Obama is the Antichrist, and wife of Barack Obama is a man. And so the last woman who went out to say that publicly, I think I've got it actually pulled up for you here, is Joan Rivers. And in that footage where she was saying that, you see her very clearly going into apartment 606. After that, you see this nice X, another 6 on that, so the 666 there. But again, 606 is a number that we've talked about a lot. You see it come up in this coding exponentially. And so take a look there. You see the 888s, the formula of magic, as well as CDC zombies, terroristic. It's also the same as Egypt Air, where you get Crowley, Sorcerer, the 1-1, again the 11. In the original name for Verizon Arena was Alltel Arena, which has that 606-101 coding in it as well. So all of that just stunning to me. All right, but let's keep moving here. So English and simple values for this are the same as inspired by Matt and Kim. And so again, that is the beginning of the window seat video in which she's assassinated. All right, Erykah Badu, you see Illuminati bloodlines, truth behind the scenes, sealed with 7 seals, 17 times 6, again that 102 coming up. And so since we've seen quite a few of them, do see it as that value from Abaddon. And so also coming up here, and so let's just keep moving though, because I've still got so much more to go over. Notice here Missy Elliott, Beyonce Knowles, how it's actually written on the Celebrity Deathmatch bit. You have all religions thrive on hypocrisy, as well as shooting him over bad tweets, and again connecting this to Donald Trump, as well as 2016 is oops. All right, definitely a code in that. So notice here the English and simples. Simple is that 326. Again, the length of formation, as well as the day of the year that Kennedy was actually assassinated. You do see the 13 Illuminati families, Christ Magnificent 888, Council on Foreign Relations, as well as he uses black magic to hurt others. Now look at this for Beyonce Knowles. And so again, just how we're written out here for the actual match. I'm going to pull this one up since the Destiny's Child will come up in a bit. But so Beyonce Knowles, written out like that for us, is the same as Erica Abbey Wright. And look at this, MK Ultra, mind control, and ritual abuse. It is very important to note that in this episode, it is discovered that Beyonce is being controlled via a implant in her head. You see her dad controlling her. Missy Elliott grabs control, makes her demean herself, all of this shit. And so I'll talk more about that in a second here, but just directly in there. Absolutely wild. Notice the English and simple values down below. Devil in Disguise, Sweet 16, 72, and the Law Fulfilled. And so definitely worth noting there, because for Beyonce, her English and simples are the same as the Law, as well as Lemonade. All the 69 stuff I showed you, remember Parkland Memorial Hospital had been open for 69 years when Kennedy was brought in. So take a look at this though. You do see it's the same as Control Freak. This is Badu's music label, Death of Us All, Dark Ritual, Shot in the Dark, Occultism, Satanic Practice, Infernal Propaganda, and Religions Are Bondage. Alright, so again, you see Destiny's Child scrolled over the top there as I showed you, this little bit right here. So let's take a look at that. You pull up Destiny's Child, you have I Accept the Mark of the Beast, as well as six-sided star, again the hexagram. You then see the magic of the Antichrist, corrupted bloodline, the Church of the Beast, okay? English and simple value 906151, same as MTV Animation and Shooter's Hill. And so again, just to bring that up for you so you can take a look at that there, Illuminatus, Love is the Law, Rosy Cross, Building a World, Man Bearing Water, okay, all of these things. So notice in this match, it's a ladder match, and they are trying to get this mystery box of fun that is hanging out at the very top of this here. And so do notice that Missy Elliott exploits the chip inside of Beyonce to get a hold of it. But before we talk about all of that, take a look here. Mystery box of fun. If we break it down, 4 and 2 is 6. And since O and F both equal 6, we have a triple 6 with all of that put together. Again, mystery box of fun is a total of 15 letters. Is the devil card, all right? So notice, collaborators of wickedness and worshipping Satan's lies. English and simple values are the same as Beyonce Knowles Carter. You see the United States of America, Divine Intervention, Martin Luther King Jr., the Key of the Rituals, and FEMA concentration camps. All right, so another variant here, adding the in front of it here for the mystery box of fun. You see Phoenix, symbol of resurrection, as well as church and government denominations, 9/11 World Trade Centers, and a man that was killed by the FBI. Down below, the English and simple values here, same as Parkwood Entertainment and Speed Limit 25. Remember, Parkwood Entertainment put out the Formation single, and so do see here the United States of America, National Security Agency, Freemasonry Mother Lodge. You do see 12, 12, 12, which you can either take as 36 or 888 in breaking down the coding there. You also have the embodiment of malevolence. All right, so now let's keep moving here. So I want you to see inside the mystery box is a beehive, right? And it kills Missy Elliott essentially. And so definitely something to be taken into consideration. And let me jump back a little bit here though, because directly before this fight starts, John Edwards' decapitated body writes, "Beware the T" on the mat that the death matches take place in. And so beware the T. T is the 20th letter, so this could be an Aeon reference because the 20th card is the Aeon card. So now take a look at this, because beware the T, the Jewish value is the same as psychological operations, 1546 written out. And so look at that. That is stunning because that is the same Jewish value as 411 Elm Street. All right, you see an organized terrorist attack, an uncontrollable desire to dominate others. The English and simples down here, notice the English value 642 is the same as the magic bill 642. Aquarius, Holy Grail, the occult, shooting, and theology. All right, so if we modify this as beware the Aeon, you do see Book of the Law. Remember, that is where Crowley supposedly was channeled by Alway and wrote, again, essentially what is the foundation for Thelema. Notice here, the purpose of a Large Hadron Collider, John Kennedy, last letter of Tetragrammaton, as well as One World Bank. You see here the Wrath and the Black Shadow. Okay, down below, English and Simples gives us reference to Bill Clinton, King of Kings, Alien Arrival, and Hermeticism. So now John Edwards, the decapitated body who wrote that, do notice all of the things that I can get from this reduction here, including that 66. But I do want you to see reference to World of Destruction and Worship Deadly God. So his English and simple values are what I really want to draw your attention to, because do notice they're the same as Antichrist, as well as Erica Wright. That is Erykah Badu's birth name. Tortoise, which is her character in the movie The Land. Live the Hype is from that trailer for The Land. Let It Burn, it's from the episode of the Boondocks in which I was talking about Sade and all of those connections, and John Adams. So just definitely worth pulling up here. because with his coding, you do see his English and simple values here giving us this XX, again 20, that is the Aeon card, and so how we're looking into all of this, and you see it is very, very clear. Okay, so now do notice here for the English and simple values for John Edwards, you see Don Trump, blood sacrifice, as well as the Great Seal, top secret, the Lake of Fire, and Lady of the Sea. So now when Missy Elliott and Beyonce are going at each other here, and Missy has Beyonce climb the ladder to retrieve the mystery box of fun, she tells her to sing Little Bunny Foo Foo in Hebrew, alright? And so I want you to see for sing Little Bunny Foo Foo here, you do have reference to Twitter, vanish into thin air, as well as 911 revelation, the English and simple values here. You do see the final hay of tetragrammaton again, as well as 666. I accept the mark of Antichrist, Food and Drug Administration, as well as an alphanumeric encryption. And so now with all of this, let's finally get into that last little bit here about The Simpsons and Jebediah Springfield, Ralph Wiggum, and this is going to loop it all the way back to part 1, so you can be sure to see all of these connections. So The Simpsons episodes start with the town's founder being decapitated, and then the statue head falls onto Ralph Wiggum, who then impales the right eye with an ice cream cone. Okay, and so again, this is very important here, but so look for Jebediah Springfield. Look at all of the reductions for this here, the 119, the inverted 911, the 88, the 99, all of the things that we can get out of there. I want you to see here the manifestation of Lucifer, as well as conqueror of nations, the number of the Qliphoth, remember that is the inversion of the tree of life, negative energy, misery, all of those things. You see holy number 8, again thinking back to the 8th book being David Copperfield being referenced 8 times in the magic bill, the adjustment card, all of that, and notice he leads to destruction and we all die. So now the English and simple values for Jebediah Springfield are the same as Nissan Stadium, as well as Mayor Eric Hogue, the 7th seal in Used and Abused books. Now remember, Nissan Stadium is going to be the final location for Beyonce's World Formation Tour, and so again, October 2nd, that 102, 10-2, however you want to break it down. But do remember here that I showed you in part 1 that from the Don King Donald Trump fight, we have coding for the call date October 2nd, alright? And so again, see all of this here, reference to alien transmission, as well as master butcher, out of the smoke, opposite of good, alright, and the armies of darkness, alright? All of that very heavily coming into play here, but so let's jump back so that we can finish this out properly. So for Jebediah Springfield, again, Mayor Eric Hogue, the huge proponent for the magic bill, very good friend of David Copperfield. I've shown you a lot on that, but check this out. Barack Hussein Obama, final Antichrist. Rise to power, Barack Obama head wound, as well as Obama gets headshot. You then see Wild Wild West. Again, that's 555 with the W's, or 444 for looking at the actual number of letters. And obviously then we can have a nice 999 out of all of that. So do see you also have the letters, or excuse me, the numbers 878 written out for you here. Again, that Jewish value for Commerce Bank Arena, where Badu is playing, or excuse me, Beyonce is playing on the 29th of July. An immensely important date that I've talked about very, very extensively. Okay, so do notice all the connections that it shares, so we can make it all the way through this video here. So notice on the Jebediah Springfield, a noble spirit, and Biggins, again, made up word, the smallest man, reference to devil in disguise, synagogue of Satan. The English and simple values down below do have written out the 44th president, Barack Obama, alright, propensity to commit violence pops up with that. So now let's take a look here at Ralph Wiggum. Of all the people to have this come onto his head here, it's very interesting that it is Ralph, because he's classically considered a dunce. But take a look here English and simple, invisible Illuminati, as well as eye surgery. The word became flesh. You also see I serve the darkness. Amen is the word. I've talked about that immensely. Satanic spirituality, and the devil uses black magic. So again, notice his English and simple values here. These incredibly important numbers, 8, 10, and 135. And so I've talked about these so much in the past. I really don't have time. I'm already at 40 minutes on this video, but do see it's the same as I Slay remix, which was the very popular remix for Formation. You do see Terrorism, Thelemic Order, Bohemian Grove, as well as God of Baphomet. So now look down here for Ralph on his own. The Jewish value of 169 is the same simple value as Trump Tower and America Airlines. So again, things that I talked about in part 1 of this video. But so you can see that pulled up there for you, golden haired one, so on and so forth. But so notice down here though, you also have a reference to Thelema, Parable, and Image of God. Okay, so that fits in perfectly with everything that I'm saying right here, and all of this stuff with Ricky Smiley and the shot in the right eye skit that he does, how we've seen the shot in the right eye pop up today here. So it's in the right eye. So there's that for you when it came up earlier for the Yes I Can Sammy Davis Jr. stuff in part 1, all of the things I talked about there. But so let me keep going here. I don't mean to get sidetracked with that, but so do notice that it's English and simple values for Ralph are the same as Burn and Sade Adu. Again, that 330 and the immensely important 55, reference to Satan, Judas, Wicked, Bones, New Age, and Laws. Ralph's last name, Wiggum, you see an occult conspiracy, as well as the work Murderville in Machiavellian Tactics. Do remember that Machiavelli faked his own death in order to come out on top in the world, essentially, all right? And the idea of Machiavellianism is that the end justifies the means. And so think about that in conjunction with all of this. Notice Wiggum's English and simple values are the same as Eric Fogel, the creator of Celebrity Deathmatch. You see here Baphomet, as well as Krishna, the Beast, Beelzebub, Sun God, all of these things. I do want you to see when I was looking up for Krishna here, I just think it's very interesting with all the 666s I've shown you. That when you go to type in Krishna, or at least when I did, you got about 666,000 or million, whatever, results here, this 666 in the front. But so I thought that was crazy, and so I typed it in again. And just so you can see here, it is different, but again, it pulls that up there. And so when you see that coming up next to all these other things, it really makes you wonder. So now, what really drives this point even further home is that Ralph was actually elected to public office in the episode E Pluribus Wiggum. And so why that's very important, so it's episode 410. Do notice that the Jewish value there is the same as Nestle Nescafe. And again, you see I, builders, ritual, the concealers, as well as spreading hate. Okay, and then down below, seal on forehead, breaking news, wound up dead, all of that. Again, Nestle Nescafe, the commercial that came on right after Cronkite announced Kennedy was dead. Okay, so very important connections that you see there, to say the least, with that 410. But so now E Pluribus Wiggum, if we look at this here, take a look at these values down below, the English and simples. 33rd degree, as well as ancestor worship, the death of humanity. I want you to see these numbers, 590. So let's pop that in. Do notice that's the same Jewish value as Tony, which links us in with all of the English and simple stuffs for the 44, and so also 195, which I think is the one that is more interesting to look at here, because it is the same as the crock weenie roast, as well as the intestinal flu, all of the stuff that I showed you with Anthony Kiedis not being able to perform there. But look at the 777, Donald Trump, first degree murder, and blood sugar sex magic. All right, very important. And this ends with 2016. Okay, so it doesn't get any clearer for the writer of that episode, Michael Price. Do note here is Jewish value 233. It's the same simple value as Beyonce Knowles Carter, enthroned Washington, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, and MK Ultra mind control. Absolutely pivotal piece. Seal of God, shells, his blood, the rifle, hot coffee, again, reference to Nestle Nescafe. These English and simple values here. Here's this beloved 102, just like the date. Beyonce's tour is ending. You see Iron Maiden, as well as Gravity, Jeff Martin, and a real cup of coffee. All right, we're almost to the end here. Do notice these values: New Balance V, as well as Murderer, and you also see Lie After Lie. So take a look at this here. 1011, very important number to bring up. You do see it is the same as Save the Bees. This is on the front of Erykah Badu's most recent EP. And so definitely something to take a look into there. It does come up for the underground bases. But so then also notice we can write that as 1110. Immensely important number because it comes up with all of this. Let me just pull it up back here because it's all consolidated for you. MTV Animation, 9 Years War, all the stuff that I talked about earlier in the part 1 of this video. Okay, and so now almost to the end here. All right, so let's keep moving. Alright, so Michael Price, here we have all this stuff. I've talked about this so much in the past that you just really have to go with it. And so for 1011 here, let me pull this up one more time because I think there's more there. So 1011, so with when you have the 111, do notice that is the simple value for 1011. It is the same as formation. It does give us Mark of Beast. All of those codes in there, very important. All right, so let's look at ice cream. This is what is thrown into his right eye. It is same as the words abrahadabra and rose. Again, abrahadabra, the completion of the great work. Word and rose is definitely something I've shown you an immense amount on with the Rosicrucian. So now look at this, soft ice cream. Again, this is a lyric from Salvatore, but do notice the Jewish value is the same as Renee Flores, and so this was the woman who wrote the article from CBS about Don Trump saying that he could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and nobody would care. You do see here Church of Ball, Bed of Roses, and 3 9s. All right, again down below, the English and simple values are the same as Fifth Avenue and Cascadia Rising. All right, again, all of that stuff. And so let's take a look here. This is the last bit of information that I have for you here, and so it comes again from this right here, again all in the intro. So Zesties, the place that we see in the background here, notice 584. This brings us back for about the millionth time to On the Ground. All right, because remember the 141 days in between Don Trump saying that he could shoot somebody and when the Badu and Smiley show is going to be taking place here. All right, so again, all of this just coming back and back and back. Let's pull up Zesties here. So notice as well, Law and Order, English and simple values the same as the Tower, Friends Arena, and Rose City. Again, Beyonce will be playing at Friends Arena, and the Tower, just the card, is what I'm looking into there. Rose City, very popular nickname for Oregon, which I've talked a lot about. But look here, because you do have reference. This is Zesties here, and so you see Holocaust, as well as the founding of America in Roman numerals, New World, World War, as well as Keystone and secret areas. All right, so down below, when we're looking at this here, you see Zesties, Pizza, and Subs is what that comes up for down there. So notice Pizza and Subs, same English value as Starts, Miracles, and Enders. All right, so very important to keep all of that in mind because this did come up in the Family Guy episode. You do see reference to Brotherhood of Saturn, Fall of the United States, Humanity's Tombstone, and all of these other concepts. All right, so definitely something to keep in mind with that. But now keep moving here because you see Bavarian Illuminati. All right, and again, talked about this in the beginning of part 1, all of the connections, and so we'll look at that more in just a minute here. But notice as well the Church of War, as well as 411. All right, and so again, that 411 has come up just immensely throughout all of this stuff. I really don't want to have to reiterate it all again. You should be paying attention enough to at least catch the immense importance and reoccurrence of that number. All right, so if we write it out as 1104, I want you to see here it's one more layer of variant to this, and that does give us Lincoln Financial Field, where Beyonce is playing on September 29th. Again, you could break that down as a 911, as a 999, as a 99. It's all in there, all right? Very, very important to consider. And so let's keep moving. English and simple values are the same as Dallas Love Field, as well as Judas My Guide, okay? All immensely important. Again, all of these things we've talked about today: Freemasonry, the number 69, God is the devil, baptism of fire, as well as people who were assassinated: Julius Caesar, Tupac Shakur, an assassin, Mark David Chapman, reference to Egypt, and I am the Dark Lord. So now here's Bavarian Illuminati. And do notice it is the same English value as Don King and Don Trump, all right? So you have end of the world. Again, this number 131 being referenced in here. Immensely important Antichrist stuff, Rose Bowl stuff, as well as the Boondocks and Charles Dickens, okay? So a lot to keep in there. You see the truth of reality. Notice the English and simples down here are the same as Lisa Resper's France. If I can just cram one more 888 in here, I'll be happy. And so notice here, Lisa Resper's France wrote decoding Beyonce's Lemonade. And as I showed you in the video that focused on that, each word is 8 letters. You have another 888 there. Notice the encrypted code, 114, hands that shed innocent blood, and the deadly clip-off, all right? Again, all of these references to U.S. President Barack Obama. Can't remember if there's a 1308 in this one today. Okay, so not today. But so let's keep going here, though, because we're almost out of this. So Bavarian Illuminati. Down below here, the Lisa Resper's France stuff. Also notice it's the same as Trump Towers in the phrase down, beehive, down, which came up in that crane operator video I looked at. So notice here, demon mind control, as well as burnt offering, the satanic bloodline, murdering mother, and read secret reality, all right? And so let's take a look at October 31st here. One of the ways we can break it down is going to be the first day of the 44th week this year. That will leave 61 days remaining, and that is the same simple value as Pasadena. So very interesting, and I've talked a lot about Pasadena. So the last bit here, we finally made it. Read secret reality. And so secret reality, all right, is what we have here. It's 13 letters. We can look at this as 199 if we maintain excuse me, that S is the 19th letter there and not breaking it down. Again, looking at as a divine number, but do notice 199 is the same simple value as do what thou wilt, as well as the tetragrammaton and I above the pyramid. So all of that immensely important, because when thinking about secret reality, these are absolutely concepts that guide it. So look here. You see death by burning kills those of Antichrist, martyrs of God, and aliens are one of the plagues. Now, here we go all the way full circle here, because the English and simple values of 960 and 160 are the same as Commerce Bank Arena, where, remember, Beyonce is going to be playing on the 29th of July here, all right? All the stuff I've talked about, the inversions, the this, the that, the connections, all right? You see subconscious, messages revealed, satanic rulers, devil worship, Luciferian Mason, Obama, damage, right eye, okay? Again, all of that being back to what this little Simpsons clip I feel is absolutely hiding here. These connections to Obama being shot, to Trump being one of these guys, absolutely going down though. But you see how all of that comes directly out of the coding for the intro there. So I might put this aside as a separate little video there, because I do think it is terribly important. But again, the references to 2016, occult conspiracies, Barack Hussein Obama II, all of it being so action-packed in there is absolutely stunning. So with all of that, for everybody that has made it through the 2 hours that is these 2 videos. Thank you very much. I know it was a little crazy, but I had to get this all done today. It's the only time I've got the time for it before it's going to be another 2 or so weeks before I get another video out for all of you. So thank you so much for taking the time. We'll see how all of this plays out. We've got a lot of variables in the air right now, and so just be well and impact the change that you want to